Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to Podcast Demastered. I'm Wade, and I am here with Chelsea as always, and today we're doing kind of a special episode. Chelsea and I have talked about doing this episode for what seems like forever, but it's a pretty appropriate time to do that. So the topic of our episode today is a pop artist who is Hikaru Utada.
An icon, a legend.
An absolute icon. Now,
Yes.
Chelsea and I have listened to Hikaru for years. Is that safe to say? Years and years.
Yes.
Forever. Absolutely for forever. And yes, we are also huge Kingdom Hearts fans. So that's kind of, I think, where our love for Hikaru started. Is that safe to assume?
Yes, for sure.
Which, you know, for people in America, I think that's very common. I think it's to have a different starting point with Hikaru is more uncommon, but I think regardless of how you get to know her, found her music, I think that's totally fine. But Kingdom Hearts is probably the most common medium that you had her in your life, because that was way back in 2002, 2001, 2002, when the first Kingdom Hearts game came out and graced us with that amazing opening that even today is talked about. Oh, it's a gateway song is a great way to put it, because you get the opening, you get this crazy anime-ish techno beat opening with Simple and Clean remix. But if you get through the game and you beat it, now you have the original version of the song just ready to melt your heart, especially with the emotional ending of the first Kingdom Hearts game. And I see all the time, like on social media and TikTok and everywhere else, people still reacting to these two versions of Simple and Clean. Like, it's crazy. Even like kids today, they're like, hey, have you heard the song? And I'm just like crying inside. I'm like, I love you so much.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I have. Come here.
Yes. Now you know the power of music.
The power. Yes. And so there's a lot to talk about as far as like Utada in Kingdom Hearts, but I think we've done that episode before.
That basically took over.
Yeah, that basically kind of took over that episode. So we're not going to talk about that as much today. Today we're focusing just on Hikaru as a person and as an artist. I think a lot of the music that both Chelsea and I listen to is pretty much Hikaru. Like, for me, it's definitely a daily basis. I don't know if is it a daily basis for you too, Chelsea, or is it just like when you're listening to music, it's probably Hikaru?
It's when I'm listening to music. I wouldn't say it's a daily basis, but yes, it's quite often, for sure. It's definitely my go-to. Hikaru's music has a little bit of everything. If you want something chill, if you want something to pump you up in a way.
There's a lot of emotion in Hikaru's music, and it's, and a lot of that emotion is like, I've always said her music is very melancholic. Even when you have an upbeat song, a very happy song, there's something about the music that it's still slightly sad, or maybe slightly lonely, or there's always two sides to her music, I feel. And her sad songs are absolutely sad songs, Yeah. But even her sad songs, though, they always have a tint of happiness to it, like of understanding and acceptance and things like that. And I picked up on that in her music way back as a young teenager. And I think that's something that, even outside of, like, at the time, the Kingdom Hearts connection, that was what continued me to, like, look into her music as a whole, pay attention to new releases, things like that. I couldn't look away, I guess.
Yeah.
That music kept my attention, like, throughout my formative years, like, with an iron grasp. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, I think it's so hard, like, reflecting on that too, and thinking, like, it basically Kingdom Hearts started it all, but I'm like, I just don't even know, like, what initially, like, got to me, where I just, like, it all clicked for me. But it was more just like, this is a cool song, like, who is this? And being like, oh, this is actually an artist who has a bunch of other music. And I'm like, I don't know. And I think it's interesting too, because like most of the music I've listened to is like, which majority is like Japanese, like it's all in Japanese. Like, I am not fluent in Japanese whatsoever, but it's just, yeah, but it's just amazing. Like, which I think a lot of people, especially now, like many people are into K-pop and stuff. And I feel like music transcends language. Like, you can still get all those feelings, all those emotions and everything. And an understanding of it all without truly understanding every single little word.
And like growing up, like when we were teenagers, that, you know, their anime and Japanese culture and stuff like that, it was so less prevalent. It was there. It was a niche. It was, I wouldn't say as strong as being like a counterculture or anything at the time, but it was there, but it was very quiet. Like, to talk about the anime that you liked was not, that was not the vibe.
You were labeled a particular way.
Oh, yes. You were labeled a very particular way. And even more so, like, with this kind of music. Because people would be like, why are you listening to that? Like, you can't even understand what she's saying. Now, thankfully, I had some very patient friends, I'd say. Some very understanding ones. So if I was ever like, oh, you have to listen to this, they would always, like, humor me. You know, they'd always listen and have some kind of conversation with me after. I could never get them to, like, fully sit down and, like, listen with me, you know? But they're always good friends and being like, okay, I'll listen to it. Like, oh, I love the beat. Oh, I love, you know, these kinds of things. Like, oh, good. And then I go back. It's very, like, on my own kind of music. It was, you know, she's always been that artist for me. Like, I don't need other people's opinions on her. I don't need to know how other people feel to validate how I'm feeling. In fact, like, way back in, like, 2009, when she released her second English album. So she became slightly more prevalent in America. And some of my friends, like, because I was playing the English music, I was like, yeah, I feel more comfortable playing this out loud, like in my car and stuff like that. I'd have friends who'd be like, oh, I love this song. Like, oh my gosh. And it was kind of turning into one of those things where like, this is my music. Back off. Like, I'm not ready to share this. Go away.
Yeah.
I grew out of that once I got to college, but thinking back about that, I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing.
No, that's funny. But yeah, talking about like sharing her music with people and stuff, that is an interesting topic because I feel like, yeah, I normally just like listen to music in general, by myself, like with headphones on or whatever. But I remember in high school a little bit with a couple of my friends, I was like, you have to listen to this and stuff. And like, they were receptive to it. They thought like her music was really great and everything, but I don't think they like would ever go out of their way to be like, oh, let me go like look up one of her songs and listen to everything. But like, they at least enjoyed it. I think I did listen to some of it with my sisters and stuff. Like, they enjoyed it. But one of the boldest things I felt like I did was at my 16th birthday, I made a playlist. Yeah. And so I included some of her music on the playlist at my birthday party. People had fun with it. They were a little confused at first, but you know.
For sure.
I'm just like, just roll with it. Like, if you know who I am, just accept my music choices.
This is
you know.
Well, and you know, like, similarly, but very, very recently, you know, like, I got married and stuff. You were there, you know this. And yes. Our first dance was the Kingdom Hearts 3 song. And the second one, not the dancey one, like the sad one. Because it's a pretty, like, it's an appropriate wedding song. We chose not to use the English version of the song because it felt too sad. It felt too like, and it just wasn't as appropriate. But the lyrics to the Japanese version, they were very like, this is a wedding. This is about love. This is about promises. This is about, you know, it's a very positive song. And we went with that as our first dance song. And, you know, in the program, I put in the lyrics, the translated lyrics, so people could be like, oh, look. But all of my friends that were there were just like, yep, that's Wade. This is very much his thing. Yeah.
Well, and it's just so perfect too, because like, her as an artist and stuff like that, music being so personal to you, but it was also just like, it makes sense. It was perfect. And it's also, I think it's just such a great song that it was just like, it was very exciting when you told me you were going to use that song.
Oh yes, I knew you would appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think it's really cool too, because I was also really excited when you're like, yeah, I'm going to print the lyrics and everything. I'm like, that's perfect, because it allows people to connect better with the music since they don't understand. But also, it's so interesting too how different the lyrics are, and like how, like, yeah, I feel like the English version, I agree, is like depressing.
It's very like, we're in a relationship, but like, if you're having second thoughts, don't tell me. I don't want to know about it. It's very like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah. Congratulations getting married. Let's use these lyrics. No.
Oh yeah. But the Japanese is like completely different. It's like
Yeah.
fully invested, fully like, which that's the thing
Yeah.
with her music. On the rare occasions she does separate Japanese and English tracks, they are not translations of one another. Lyrically, like melodically, they're going to be almost the same piece of music, but like lyrically, they are not. Like Simple and Clean and Hikari, not the same. Not the same song at all. Sanctuary and Passion, absolutely not. Like not two sides of the same coin, just like they're not here for the same thing.
Yeah. Which is just absolutely incredible in so many ways about how you can take a song and then just like it's different in different languages, like completely like the meaning and stuff like that. Like that's pure talent, obviously. Like that's incredible.
Well,
just
yeah, she's gone on record several times because people have asked about her like songwriting process, and especially like the Kingdom Hearts stuff, right? That stuff gets brought up a lot with her. And she's gone on record before saying like, well, she does not like writing songs that need two separate like versions, like two professionally done versions. Because when she creates a melody, regardless of what, if she's writing it first in Japanese or she's writing it first in English, she's writing that melody to go with those lyrics, to tell that story.
The particular thing.
But when she has to go and like, well, here's this melody that's already been set aside, and now I have to like, am I supposed to tell the same story? Am I supposed to like make it the same thing in a different language? She has gone on to say that she does not like doing that because she feels it messes with her like integrity as an artist. Now, she's also said that like she understands that people want like to take some of her older like Japanese hits. People want her to make English versions of those. So basically doing like a cover album of herself.
Okay.
And she's gone on to say that maybe someday she'll do that. Maybe someday, like way down the road, she'll revisit those songs in that manner, but she's not like, it's not something she wants to do or feels that she needs to do right now.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting because I was like thinking about that more while you were saying that, but like, yeah, I don't need like solely like all English songs or anything like that, or like, because I've just accepted the songs for what they are. Like, I definitely would love like
for sure
translations of them all. Like,
and
you literally like look up all those.
So much better. She's been so much better with that, like, since she came back from her hiatus. Like, translating the Japanese lyrics herself. Or even the few English songs she's done since then, like, she's translated those into Japanese as well for her Japanese audience. So that, like, and she does that for both groups now because she doesn't want, like, she's happy when people go and do it themselves, you know, for other people. But she just wants to make sure that, like, things are not, like, misconstrued, you know? But she's been a lot better about doing that the last 7 years, 8 years.
I think that just sounds like such a long time now.
Oh my gosh, I know, since her second era started.
Oh man. But yeah, that's also, it's so interesting because like with the Kingdom Hearts songs, how there are like, I feel like those are mainly the ones that people most will see, that the Japanese and the English version. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes it's just like, I would just be happy with one option, like, you know, but I don't need both, but both is great. So, you know, that's cool.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, like I still don't probably know what half the songs or all the words are in like most of her music, but I just enjoy it for what it is. But
for what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just read a translation. Like, I'm cool with that, but I don't need that to be like all of a sudden like an English version. No.
Yeah, I know there's so many people on YouTube who have taken Japanese songs and tried to do like a direct translation into singing an English version. And those are very hit or miss. Sometimes the lyrics work out pretty well and sometimes they don't. Like, I'm not here to bash because I have tried that in the past too. I had a whole notebook, like on, you know, between two pages. One side would be, I would go to whatever site online and I would copy out a whole song's lyrics. And then on the other side, I could just kind of like rework them into English lyrics that would properly fit the song. That's hard. It's not easy. You know, it's kind of like rewriting poetry in a way.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Which I think that's kind of what she talks about when we talk about integrity of the music. Like, we're not here to reshape. We're here to just enjoy the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, talking about just like when you're saying like her second era being like what 7-8 years like so far, I'm like, yeah, no,
that's crazy.
her
Isn't
music is like what we have grown up with. I feel like it's
Yeah.
just like it's our lifetime follow.
It really
Real.
is, and I'll always be there, because okay, so man, should we talk about her bio stuff real quick, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think some listeners
okay.
might want some little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if you don't know who Hikaru Utada is, here I'm going to try to do a really quick recap of kind of like her life and phases and stuff like that. So she was born in, good Lord, 83. I think that's right. She's 41 this year, so 83 I think is correct. She grew up between New York and Tokyo. Her parents were very successful. Her mom was a very successful music artist in Japan. Her dad was a very successful manager and producer. So they lived in New York, but they spent a lot of time back and forth, and that they had to take Hikaru with them as well. So she spent lots of time in studios, doing homework, napping, things like that, working with her parents. But she did get a love of music from her parents. In fact, at the age of like 12, 13, she recorded her first material with her mom, produced by her dad, which is cute. It's nothing like crazy major. It's just kind of a cute project, family project they worked on, I think. But at the age of 15, she did start to write her own like major album, which was released in 1999. And that album has gone on to become like Japan's best-selling album of all time, which is crazy because she was, 15, 16 years old, and she has continued to stay up in that echelon, however you want to say that, of Japanese artists ever since. However, she's not a product of the Japanese music market. She's a product of the the Western music market, which is vastly different than like most music markets. In fact, she's responsible for bringing like lots of like R&B, like that kind of culture over into that market where it didn't really exist before, which I'm sure has a lot to do with how well everything sold. But it did like change Japanese music as well. Lots of things stayed the same, but it really brought Western influence pretty heavily over into that area. But from then on, from First Love, her first album, we went from First Love to Distance, which I think is like the second like highest album, somewhere up there. It's very, very high up there too. And then from there we go into Deep River. And these were all like about 2 years apart, maybe. They were pretty close. Actually, I think that's right, because Distance was 2001. Deep River was 2003. 2004, she writes her first English album called Exodus, which was definitely something. I bought that album, or it was bought for me as a gift, because that came out. It was just a little bit after. Like, she really cemented herself to me as an artist, but I didn't know it was coming out. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then my friend was just like, here you go. And I was just like, what? Like, I died.
Wow. Thank you.
So we had that. And then shortly after that, 2006, I think it's 2006, came Ultra Blue, which was the first CD album that I was bought. It was that year. My parents imported it from me as a Christmas present. I got brand new headphones on top of it. And that's all I did. I remember like leaving Christmas, like going to my grandma's house that day with my little portable CD player with Ultra Blue in it, headphones on. And I think that's all I did all day was just listen to that album from start to finish. Like I brought the album case with me so I could like look through the pictures and stuff. Also, I love that photo shoot. Like, if you've never seen it before, that's like, she's got like the red, like, I don't know, call it a dress because it's not. It's like,
it's cool. Whatever
it's super cool,
it is.
But
yeah.
like every page has a different color. Like she's like it starts with red, but then she's got a green one and a blue one and a purple one and orange and yellow. Like she goes through the whole spectrum of the rainbow with all of these different, like, they're the same like dress thing, but they're all different colors. And I love that. So then from there, 2008, I think, we have Heart Station. We have her fifth album, which had a lot of pretty heavy hitters on it. But I remember the internet being like talking at the time, like, oh, she's going downhill. Everything's very pop, very electronic, very this and that. And I was still in love with it. I was like, it's great. It's amazing.
I love that album.
Heart Station. Oh my God. We'll have to jump into that here in a bit. But from there, so that was like my junior year of high school. Senior year, 2009, she releases her second English album called This Is the One.
Yes.
And that was, the first English album was extremely experimental, very like, she was just letting whatever comes out come out. She was learning a lot about music production, writing music. It was, I mean, I can sing you every track on that album, but not every track on that album is like, it was not written for like radio consumption, you know. It's very weird, but a good weird. I loved it.
Yeah.
But then This Is the One was very different because this was the album where she really put her foot forward on making an impact. I'm going to try to make like a mainstream pop R&B album. And I think she was successful. You know, it charted. She was on Good Morning America. She was doing interviews. She was around. I remember her sitting at a Sephora store singing Part of Your World from Little Mermaid. Like, you know, that was the place to be. Like, I wish because she was in like Chicago and New York, like doing press stuff there. I wish I could have been there to like witness some of those live events. That would have been so cool. But, you know, in 2009, the end of 2009, she announces she's going on tour. Her first international tour, not as Hikaru Utada, because that was like her Japanese stage name, which I mean her actual name, but you know, but as just Utada, which was her like American, it's like Cher, you know, it's a monogram, it's just Utada. And this was my freshman year of college, and she announces she's doing 10 shows across America, Europe, and I got to go. I went to Chicago. I was front row, right there. And I mean, it was absolutely like euphoric. The fact that I was there for the first time in my life. I was there in a huge place surrounded by people who knew her music and not just her English music, like, because there was a set of her show where she did some Japanese stuff, but it was just so surreal to be in a place where I was understood. I guess.
Yeah.
No, by all of these people, you know, I was singing the songs, especially the Japanese songs, and everybody surrounding me, they were doing the same thing. Which at this stage of the tour, she was like, I don't know, six performances in, but she talked a lot about how she was so shocked that out of all of these performances, her Japanese songs were the ones that were sang the loudest. Like, people sang along to all the songs. Yeah. But she just, you know, because she is not socially, like, she doesn't get on social media. She doesn't like, she doesn't pay attention to herself in the media, you know?
Yeah.
She's not as like connected to her fans as a lot of other pop artists are, because she's very like, here's my music, enjoy. Like, she doesn't use her body to sell her music. She's not physically out there promoting and things like that. It's just, her music sells her music. Her artistry sells her music. So seeing all of those American people sing her Japanese songs with her, she said was just so like enlightening to her. She just didn't realize that it was such a thing, you know?
Yeah.
But that moment was almost, it was so validating that I had spent all of this time with her, like in her music. And then I got to not share it with other people necessarily, but just be there with everybody else. And I bet they were all having the same experience as I was.
You found a community you didn't know you were going to find.
Absolutely.
Like, like
absolutely.
In person. Yeah.
Because, you know, I went to Chicago by myself. I hopped a train. I stayed there all by myself. It was literally, I got there, hotel, House of Blues, hotel, train station. Like, I was very in and out.
But no, that's so cool. I'm so glad you got to have that experience. I hope to still one day see her in concert.
Yeah, maybe someday. She doesn't like tour or perform that often, you know. And when she does, it's in Japan, which is fair. Like, you know, that's obvious. You want to make money for these things.
I wish this could be a huge podcast announcement about, you know, the podcast is going to Japan, but
oh gosh,
sorry, it's not right now.
So maybe someday.
She's supposed to be going on tour soon.
She is supposed to be going on tour soon. Mm-hmm. We'll get there. Yeah. I mean, we won't be able to get there. Not with this one. But maybe someday. If she ever announces a tour outside of Japan, though, I think it's safe to say we're there. Whatever
I don't care where it is. Yeah. Even if it's in Europe, like, I'm there, but I don't know.
I mean, and she lives in London. So part of me really wants to think that it's not too far, you know? It's not that difficult.
It's attainable. Yes.
For her to be like, I'm going to just do it. She's right there. Like, come on, man. Come on. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so to continue, she does this. It's successful. You know, all the shows are sold out. And this is like back in the day where you had like to buy tickets of things like this. You have to like be on your phone, your little flip phone.
You're so old.
I know. There's no like, there wasn't websites you buy. Like this wasn't a thing yet. But, you know, that happens. And then shortly after, she announces she's going on hiatus. They're releasing like a single collection. She had released one already, so this is like the second one where she was re-releasing all the singles all together with like 5 new songs. And then after that, there's going to be like a two concert event. But after that, like she's leaving, and it was an indefinite hiatus. Like she didn't know if she was coming back, how long it would be. But just being so successful and having had to grow up in such a circumstance, she wanted to be out of it. She wanted to be a person because she had tried to go to school. She went to Brown University, majoring in like some biology thing. And she just wanted to experience life as a normal person. But she had to drop out of that because even at the time when she was just primarily a Japanese artist, she was still recognized too much to just go to class and come back and live. So she just wanted to live. She had already been married and divorced. She wanted a regular relationship. She wanted to go make a bank account. She wanted to go grocery shopping and just not be stared at, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
So these things happen. She's gone. She says goodbye, literally, with a song called Goodbye Happiness.
And that video.
And the video, she directed her first music video, which is like an old time, I say old time, oh my God, like YouTube video, structured as like a old time YouTube video at the time. But the video is full of references to her past music videos and events that she's done. And that's a whole thing. But
it was so cute and fun, but so devastating.
It was. You see all of these references, and like, in the whole time she's singing the song, like she's looking at you, right? Because she's looking straight into the thing. You know what's fun? That's a one take video.
Okay, I could see that.
It was directed as a one take situation, but it was so cute and so meaningful, but. Like, I remember she hits the high point of the song and she sits back down and the music is just going and going. And she sits down and she grabs that notepad and she starts writing. And like, again, the music is at the high point and you're just like, I know the song's ending. And she puts up this notepad and it just says like, I love you across. And she gets up and she continues doing her like references and dancing and stuff like that. And you're just like bawling in your dorm room at your desk.
Yes, 100% where I was at.
Like just bawling, and the music ends and the video ends. And you're just like, this is the last time I'll get to see her doing something like this. Which it was for a long time.
Yes.
You know, well, there was a surprise song. Oh gosh, I don't know, 2 years in. Because during her last Japanese album, during Heart Station, she performed a song called "Beautiful World," which was the theme song for the first of 4 Neon Genesis Evangelion remake movies. Because she's a huge fan of Evangelion. which I didn't know at the time. And I've loved Evangelion since I was like, I don't know, 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, oh yeah, like, I remember watching this like when it first came out, like on TV, like 96. I was like, excuse me. So they're like, hey, do you want to do a theme song? And she was like, hell yes, I want to do a theme song. And she did it. And it fits that movie so perfectly. But anyway, she had written that song for the first movie. They took the same song for the second movie, and just remixed it. But then there was a good gap between the second and the third movie, but she came back quietly to release a new theme song for the third movie, which this song was vastly different than the first song. The first song is very like up tempo. It's got a pretty infectious beat to it, and it's about, you know, like it's about love, and it's, you know, it is what it is. The lyrics, they get to me a lot, but this third one, the third movie, it's very, I don't know, sad doesn't quite cover it.
Yeah, I think it also just like adds to it because like of her hiatus and then being like, here, we got a little something. It's like, it's a tease of something too, but also just.
It is, you know, yeah. There was no project announced. It was just like, we know that this third movie's coming. So that's cool. I wonder if they'll just like take Beautiful World and remix it again. Like that seems like something that would happen. And then we get the first, well, no. It was the last trailer, I think. That I don't even remember if the trailer had the song in it, but the trailer was like featuring new music by, and it was like, what? And then this, you know, the movie came out very fast after that trailer came out, and like being in America, like we didn't get to hear the song for like, it wasn't like right when the movie came out. It was like a few days later maybe or something. But like people were like, oh my god, like this song is devastating. Like, this is, whoa, what is happening? So it came out, and I remember sitting there. I was, you know, this is a couple years later. I'm like sitting there with my headphones on, listening to this song, just like bawling. Just like the pounding piano, but like the quiet, the rest, like the song ends with such crazy, devastating piano, but it begins so like softly. And you have this story of the song where she's like saying goodbye to somebody, it seems like a lover of some kind, you know, but like she will continue on without them, but maybe they would see her as she is now, and maybe they'd be happy for her and things like that. Like it was such a thing. And then it was quiet again for a while, but then the news came in that her mom had committed suicide, which was pretty close to like to this song, which I think a lot of people think back and they think that these things happened, like her mom died and she wrote the song to like reflect on that period, but it wasn't. This song came out like a year before she died, but I think it's close enough where people connect those things. But so this was big for Hikaru. It was very, I mean, life-changing, I don't think begins to describe it.
No. Yeah.
She continued to stay quiet for quite a long time, outside of like the paparazzi trying to capture pictures of her as she was attending the funeral. That was just awful. Because like in the few pictures they got, like she just looks so, it's
understandable, but we don't need pictures of that. Just leave her to grieve. Yeah.
But then in 2016, 2016, she comes back. She announces she had gotten remarried. She'd had a son, and she has a new album, Phantom. And this album was quite something, because like the couple singles that came out beforehand, like really signified a change in her music, in her new skills and her new life experiences she's had. But the day that this album came out was a huge day in my life as well. Nothing to get into on the podcast, but I was absolutely devastated. Like life was going to take a different professional change for me. And I remember sitting in my car after this extremely long day. These things happened so fast and changed my teacher life as it was for a very long time to come. And I'm sitting, it's like 9:00 at night. I should have been home hours and hours before, but I had to go into all these meetings. I would be teaching new classes in these awful circumstances, and I'm sitting in my car and my phone gets a notification, and it was like, hey, like this album is ready to download. Because it wasn't supposed to like be out till tomorrow, like the next day. And but then I realized, oh, it must have been this time in Japan. And so they pushed it out. And so I downloaded it, sitting in my car, like already kind of crying, because it had been so terrible of a day. And then I click play, and then the first song, Michi, starts. Which in that album, that song was like her message to her fans that she is grieving, but she's okay. She's gonna be fine. She's gonna pull through it. You know, the lyrics talk about it being a lonely road, and her mom reminds her that she's there, like with every song and things like that. It's a lot. And in that album, that remained my album for quite a while. It hit so hard, and it was so tied up in like my own personal situation.
Yeah.
But I was just so happy to have her back, which seems silly, you know, like she's just a music artist. But she had been so much closer than that, like in regards to not the person, but the music for such a long time. And so she came back, and she's been back ever since. She released a couple years later, she released album number 7, Hatsukoi, which was, that's where the third Kingdom Hearts song is. I mean, I have so much love for that album too. Like there's so many tracks on there. I'm just like, absolutely. And then 2 years ago, she releases album number 8 called Bad Mode, which was for all intents and purposes her first bilingual album. It has Japanese and English songs on it.
Yeah.
And there's so much good in that album. Like, oh my God. I still listen to it like all the time, because there's just so much from her own new life experiences and her new writing styles and techniques that she has now. It's just, everything is just so good. And I think that really, like, here we are today, they just announced a new greatest hits album, her first greatest hits album, called Science Fiction, which, when it comes to naming things for her, whether they're albums or tours or what have you, like, there's always a lot to look into. Now, I'm not talking like Taylor Swift levels of like, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. But I'm curious, because the last tour she went on was Laughter in the Dark, which she got from a book. Like, you know, it's not anything too crazy deep, but like, it always kind of helps tell you like where her train of thought is. What's she been doing lately, that kind of stuff. So interested to see how this next, like how is this tour going to look? What is there going to be new stuff on this album? I mean, obviously, I suppose there is going to be, because we have 2 tracks. One, we have Gold, which came back. Was that last year, I guess?
Yes, I think, yes.
And then we have another one coming out just like next month, like literally a month from today, just about.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see what this...
I know. I want more information. I'm impatient for this. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. That was there's a lot of stuff that I skipped in that kind of quick timeline, but I think I got the albums. I think I got all the albums.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a lot there for sure, but I don't know. I mean, do we even talk about our favorites? I mean, we love a lot, but
there's Chelsea and I have been talking a lot. Like, what do we talk about? Favorite songs, favorite albums. It's really difficult to pinpoint those things down, because tomorrow it could change.
Yes.
So I think what we should do instead, maybe talk about just like memorable albums and songs, things that you might have a particularly strong attachment to. And just before we get into this, if we start talking about favorites and stuff, I know that there is a segment of Utada fans online that become very, I don't know, defensive maybe, when talking about like, oh, this song is good, this song is not good, and trying to be like as objective about it as possible. You know, I don't think, like, I'm not here I can criticize Hikaru's music. That's fine. I'm a music teacher. It's very built into me to like analyze these things, but it's also important to step back and not look at it from such an objective lens, but more of a subjective personal lens, you know, because everybody has their own experience for when they got a hold of certain music. Like if a brand new Utada fan looked back at like the Distance album right now from 2001, their thoughts today would be wildly different, I'm sure, than if they heard that album on the day it came out. Because there's so much different everything to compare it to than what we had in 2001. So I think us talking about memorable stuff as compared to like favorites, like this is better than this, I think that's a whole different conversation. But yeah.
So memorable.
Then. Yeah. Like what's important to you?
I mean, I memorable as in because it's like it's a go-to album. It's one I definitely remember like purchasing and just being a big deal, being obsessed with would be Heart Station.
Oh yeah.
It's all of it. It's a vibe for every time. There's songs that can just work for any type of mood.
There's such a roller coaster of emotion on that. And like and when this album came out, there was so many like there's a lot of people talking about this album because the tracks were like here and then they're way over here, and then like the new stuff was so like, what did she just say? Like crazy. Can you give me an idea of some major songs for Chelsea on this Heart Station album?
Like all of them? I mean, I can narrow them down. I mean, we have everything from like Fight the Blues, Prisoner of Love.
Oh, Prisoner of Love. You know, that's the only... So Hikaru's written lots of music for lots of like J-dramas. Like her music gets used a lot for that. Not so much for anime. I think there's literally like 2 anime, maybe, that she's like used songs for. And they're more like modern. They just kind of just happened in the last 4 years or so. But the song Prisoner of Love was used for the drama, was it Last Friends, I think?
Yeah, I don't remember the specific name. I do remember this.
That's roughly, the only J-drama I've ever seen. And I actually ended up loving it. It was like, the song aside, although the song is all over that thing. It's played like 4 times an episode. Good Lord. Like all the dramatic moments, which there's a lot because it's a J-drama. Like it's always playing. But the story was really, really good. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, no. Just when you start with one song and just branch off of it, it's just, there's a lot of love for sure.
I think Beautiful World's probably like my big hit. Because again, it has the attachment to Evangelion. The lyrics, they hit me for like personally really hard. But it's such a groove too. Like I play it and I can just move to it. It's so good. But
I was like Flavor of Life. I forgot. I don't know.
Well, Flavor of Life was like
all the versions.
It was like what, the top selling song of that year? Like that song was huge. I mean, I think it was also in a J-drama maybe. But that song was big. There was a ballad version, and there was also like a regular pop version.
Yeah,
and
both equally
it's
wonderful.
The same song, but they have completely different feels. Like the ballad version, you just want to sit there and be like hand in the air, like crying, like oh my god. But then like you hear the pop version, you're just like you're up dancing. Like it's a whole different.
It's a jam.
It's a whole different thing. I think one of the, especially when that album came out, I think Take 5. I listened to Take 5 so much. And when she sang it at the Wildlife concert, like the last concert she did before her hiatus. She sang it there, and I about died because she picked her
That's
songs.
Amazing. Yeah,
I know
for live.
The songs that she picked for that concert. That was not like I have to promote this new album. That was like, I'm picking the songs. I'm doing what I want. I'm singing what I want because it could be the last thing I do. And she put that song on there, and that song is very depressing. It's very much about suicide, you know, and the feelings that she imagines coming with that. It's very ending. There's finality in that music, and even the end of the song like cuts off.
Yes,
like there's a sudden stopping, and straight into the next song you go. But that song, it hit me really hard too. It's such a ethereal feel to it. You can really just get lost in that. That's a really good
word to describe a lot of her music, too.
Well, especially on this album, too.
Yes.
Especially on this album. You can just close your eyes and you can just disappear. You can you can be gone until the album ends, you know?
Yeah.
I love that. Like, it sounds like we're like high or something, like listening to fish, listening to some fish or something. But, you know, it's similar, you know, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Natural highs like all over the place. Oh, speaking of natural highs, there's Kiss and Cry.
I was going to say, that's a Yes.
Yeah, so Kiss and Cry, that's a vibe too.
Oh man, yes.
Hey, there we go.
Perfect segue.
Any other remaining tracks on Heart Station?
I mean, like I said, they all hit me.
There's so
times.
much.
Like, I mean, there's obviously one Heart Station. It's called Heart Station.
That's another one of those things where you can just kind of hit play and like disappear into. It's so synth heavy. It's just like gone. You're done.
Yeah. There's also Celebrate. It's a little fun at times.
Okay, Celebrate was the track. I remember that coming out, and people are like, and this is a conversation that had come up before, but like people listen to Celebrate, which is basically just like, I'm gonna sneak away and have myself a secret wedding with maybe a girl, and it was like people were like, is she gay? Which again, this is not the first conversation that had come up about this, because lots of her lyrics are very I don't want to say, like, they don't point in directions. They are very vague. They're very, like...
Up for your interpretation?
Up for interpretation. Or just sometimes even a little provocative towards, you know, things like that. And not even just, like, in a sexual way, like an orientation way. But in, like, there's a song from Ultra Blue, which is actually the title track, Blue.
Okay, yes.
Blue is a song that... is another one of those. I think that's probably the track from Ultra Blue that I would like if I had to, if the ship was going down and I had to save a child. It's Blue. I'm taking Blue.
Ultra Blue.
I'm taking this. Because like the music to it is just something I had never heard before. It was so emotional and raw. And then I looked at the lyrics. That was just listening to the song and her like honesty with her voice and stuff. I was like, whoa. Like, this is deep, and I don't even know what it's about yet. But then I went and looked at it, and it was, you know? The song talks about being in a place that, like, you should know. Like, this, I was raised here, but I just don't recognize it anymore. You know, she talks about how, you know, she's a girl, but the color blue just seems more natural to her, you know? And this is something that she's talked about a lot. Like, in speaking Japanese... she uses a very masculine form of Japanese because that's just how she had always talked when using the Japanese language. She doesn't use the feminine versions of things or the like she's there more for like the dominant type of language, and so she just felt more comfortable being that kind of person and not the subservient feminine type. Like that did not feel comfortable to her, which makes a lot of sense. You know, just a couple years ago she was doing an Instagram live or something, and she came out as non-binary. And you know, and I am sure if anybody is listening that for an hour they've been like he keeps saying she. Utada is comfortable with she they pronouns.
Yes.
If you didn't know that, go look at her Instagram. Like, the pronoun thing doesn't bother her very much. It's more about how she feels about herself and not what she wants to be seen as. Like, it's very subtle. But when she said that, I was just like, yeah. Because she's had so many songs where she has talked about how as a person, she feels very vague. She doesn't feel like she's supposed to be doing this, and she doesn't feel like it. She doesn't feel comfortable with those things. So that was not shocking at all. In Blue, the song Blue, I think, is like the case study in that situation, where she had a lot of negative thoughts about herself because like society wanted her to be like this, but she didn't feel that way. She wanted to do the opposite, or she just didn't know what she wanted at all when it came to those things. So Blue hits me as such an emotionally raw song, but it's not like a slow song, you know. It's pretty up tempo. It's pretty up there.
No, that definitely, I didn't know all that about that song, so it definitely gives me a really new perspective on that, because you were talking about, like, you would only pick one from Ultra Blue, and I'm like, that's a problem. I can't say I'm only going to save one song from, like, any of her albums, because I was like, no, I was like, there's another song, yeah.
I have to think not hard about it. Otherwise, I'm, like, pulling, like, come here, be my last... Come here, passion.
Like keep trying. This is
keep
love.
Trying. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Keep Trying and This Is Love actually are two of my favorite songs to sing by her. Although, like, by the end of Keep Trying, like, my voice is dead. There was like no breaks in that song, and she's up there quite a bit. But This Is Love is like powerful. It's like belting. It's good. It's so good.
Yeah, no, those are...
No, Ultra Blue will always have that place in my heart because it was my first like physical album that I had.
Yeah, that's one of my first early ones too. It is a very special album. I understand.
Now, in I know a lot of people feel the same way about Deep River. Like they came about like right when Deep River came out, and Deep River is such a crazy album because there are so many like huge Utada songs on that album. You know, you have Traveling, you have Sakura Drops, you have Final Distance.
Yes.
Deep River itself was not a single, but it got a music video, and that song is also very like sad. Makes it like inwardly reflecting. Have you ever heard Deep River before?
I think it's been a very, very long time.
Oh man. After we get done here, go listen to just watch the video at the same time as Deep River.
Yeah.
Pull up the lyrics though. It's very like self-searching. Like, oh man, I'm trying to remember some of the lyrics from that song because they're so powerful. One of my favorite parts of it is like everybody finds their way to the sea, but and like that's how like that verse ends. Like the sword of individuality is bequeathed to everybody, you know, and something about like using that sword not to protect and not to destroy. There's like a whole thing in that song that just it's a vibe. I love it. Like the guitar, oh my gosh, like the guitar that goes throughout the entire song is just like perfect.
Okay, I'm looking forward to listening to this.
We'll have to do it together. We gotta do it together.
Okay, so the episode's done. Bye.
Yeah, bye. No. We have stuff to do now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so in a lot of those albums, that's like her older stuff now. Like that's crazy to think about, right?
Yeah. But I also remember, I'm looking at it now, I guess it was... So I don't actually own any of her music, like on like any like physical things. Like I don't have any CDs or anything like that. I've only ever just like purchased them, digitally. So I've always had them only. Like,
well, I mean, that's like the normal person way of doing things. Like, you remember way back when her music was not on iTunes?
Yes.
Or like not hers, but just like if it was outside of America, like you couldn't just go buy it because every iTunes store was like separate in its own country.
Yeah. So I had a very weird memory about this, about obtaining her music. So I tried looking it up, but I know it was real. There was a time, I think, when Coca-Cola, like, you would like collect the caps and you would get like free downloads to music. I think it was Coca-Cola. Well, they had like a lot of her music on there. And so
interesting.
I think I drank a lot of soda during that time and I got a lot of her music that way.
I mean, I know like during the time of the, like right before the hiatus, like with the second single collection, she did a thing with Pepsi, but I don't recall like that was, you know, I don't know. I mean, this if this was a thing, this is new information. But like I also was paying zero attention to things like that too. So maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure it was because I think it was this whole thing when I thought it was Coca-Cola where they had like their own like music like thing where you could like, you just got to like each cap was a single download for a song. So if I wanted a whole album, I had to get a lot of Coca-Cola.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Which I do like Coke, but I know that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I know people have opinions about that, but you know, it's just... But yeah, I remember that just being this very distinct memory. And I think it was actually, I think that's how I listened to Heart Station. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, now you can just kind of go get it wherever you want to.
Yeah.
I
mean, I have all the music, It's just, but... Yeah, which is also just something interesting, which I think is also reflected too when we talked about anime too, about how things are a lot more accessible now than they used to be.
And some things are crazily so, like, whoa.
Yeah. And like, we were just like hoping for anything, or you have to get it imported or waiting for it, or just, but no.
And that was
great
expensive.
Now, so it's easy. Yes.
Like, oh my God, like one CD, if you want to like import one CD, you didn't go to Amazon because that wasn't a thing. Not really.
Yeah.
You had to find a specific website, and then like the album, like the CD, you go to Walmart, you buy a CD for like $12, right? That's the CD would be like $35, and then like to ship it across the world you are probably like doubling the price at least.
Yeah.
It was bonkers. Now, luckily today, even importing those kinds of things, it's a lot easier now. If you must have them physically, that process is much easier.
Yeah. Well, which I do have the Kingdom Hearts 1 soundtrack. So I did have that one, and I specifically wanted it because of, I mean, all the music, but especially because of Simple and Clean being on there. And yeah, no, that is an import, and I don't think I could fully comprehend how much money it costs to get that thing, but it was just the excitement of just having the music available.
Oh yeah. I've been like very slowly getting the reprinted vinyls of her albums. Because like, I think it was like when Hatsukoi came out, I think that's when it happened. They did like reprints of all 7 at the time of her Japanese albums. And you could go buy them like all at once. And they weren't like, I don't think they were priced terribly. I mean, they were probably like $30 a piece, maybe something like that. But like right now I only have like 2. I have like Heart Station and Bad Mode. But I plan on acquiring them all just slowly. I'm not in a hurry. It's fine.
Yeah.
So someday.
That's a nice collection to have for sure.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's special to me, and that's all that matters. It's mine.
Yeah.
It's mine. Although like, it's so great because you get to share Utada with your wife, and I absolutely get to share Utada with my husband. So it's and now we have each other.
Yes.
So like our little pool of people has like quadrupled.
Yay.
So we have that, and and the internet exists, and there's lots of people way out there who have enjoyed her music for either just a year or 20, 25
decades. Yeah.
This year marks her 25th anniversary, and on the 19th, I think it is, the 19th is her 41st birthday too, which is crazy to me. Like,
yeah, really
picturing her at 41 years old, it's like, I mean, you look the exact same as when you were like 20. So that's cool.
But yeah, because of these also milestone celebrations, we just couldn't resist. I think that's a real reason why we were like, we have to do this episode. Finally.
Oh yeah,
wanting to. Yeah.
And folks, if you're still here with us after an hour of chatting about this, we love you.
Thank you.
So thank you for hanging in there.
Yes. Well, we could probably wrap it up soon, but I'm trying to think, like, I'm sure, like, clearly, we have so much love for her and everything, and her music. There's so much that clearly, we're gonna miss talking about. There's so many things. But are there any other albums or any other particular songs that really hit you really resonate?
I'm like looking at Fantôme real quick. Fantôme is an album I can hit play on and just let it repeat. There's so many like fun songs. There's some sad songs. Oh, like on Fantôme specific, like I talked about Michi, which is the first track of the album. Michi is like the song that she wrote where she's telling her fans she's going to be okay. She has this great sadness still, but she recognizes the importance of life and moving on. She'll get there. She's going to be okay. And then you have the whole rest of the album to like explore those feelings of life and death with her. Like you go to number 3. Hanataba wo Kimi ni. That's the song she wrote where she's saying goodbye to her mom. And that one hurts. That one hurts a lot. Like, especially if you're watching the music video. The music video is not anything terribly major. It's just kind of her in a bedroom, sitting on the bed, on the corner of the bed, laying on the floor. It's all done in black and white, where she's just singing the song, saying goodbye to her mother. And at the end, as the music is crescendoing and we're kind of getting to the exit of the music, in the video, you see her crying. You see her finally just break down and cry. And it's so easy to like imagine that this was not a staged cry. This was not because the way her face breaks in that moment where she starts to cry and like she turns her head away, it really feels very honest, very real. And I can't watch that without crying, with no specific emotion in mind. Just seeing her cry like that, it just broke me too. It was rough. But like on that album of such sad stuff, you have like track 4. She has a duet with Sheena Ringo a 2 hour vacation. That's a fun one. Being able to escape the monotony and the busyness of real life, even if it's just for a 2 hour vacation with somebody that you love. Like, that's a fun one. Tomodachi is fun. People, again, were like, is she gay? Because it's like, I'm in love with my friend, but like, I don't think I can be friends with them if they will not accept my feelings. But also like, that's a fun one. I love that one so much. And then Sakura Nagashi is on there too, from the third Evangelion movie, and it's the ending of the album too. So it's like, oh, you've like roller coaster of emotions. You're taking this journey with her. Sucker punch to the stomach. Bye. Like, what a way to leave out. Like, rude. But like, Hatsukoi is great. There's so many things I could sing forever on that. But like, to jump straight to bad mode, I mean, I don't know anything on here that's not like a bop. You know? Although like Find Love, the English version, like, I listen to that thing all the time. I love it so much. She wrote that first, and then she went back and wrote the Japanese version. But it's such an Utada song, and it's just a song about like loving yourself and not, you know, it's one of those songs, but it's good. It's such a good one. Yeah. How about you? Is there anything left that we haven't? You just want to jump on real fast? Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I think one of the only other things that we probably haven't mentioned, which I guess I was double checking because I was like, I don't remember if this song actually came out like on a different album, but it looks like it was part of her single collection volume 2. There's like a couple of those songs. Okay. And one of them is Show Me Love, Not a Dream.
Yeah, Show Me Love.
Oh my gosh.
That's a thing. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a rock song.
So many times.
It's heavy.
Yeah. And also just heavy with feelings and everything with that, like, yeah. Wow. Because I think I recall, like, it was inspired by her feelings about her deciding to go on hiatus. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, that song's a ride too. It might be a rock song too in a way, but like
it has lots of like heavy guitar. It's very like aggressive for like a Hikaru song. It's very like, she doesn't touch rock very much, but when she does, it's like it's there for a reason. It's just there to like expand upon those emotions that she's having.
Well, and then, of course, because it's like the single collection, so then you have the other song, which I think the song right after that is, of course, Goodbye Happiness. So it just hits you again.
That song, man, I can't. I love it. I love that song so much. And there's just so much in that song that she tried to get in there before she left for 6 years. Man.
But, you know, I'm happy for her, but it was still such a devastating time, I feel like, in both of our lives to be like, no more.
We were right there with her, right? Like,
yeah.
We were right there with her.
Yes.
And we were so close at the same time. Like, we were at the same school. We just didn't.
Yes.
We didn't know. I know we didn't know each other.
I know. I keep rethinking about that. I'm like, I guarantee we probably passed each other multiple times. We had to.
I'm sure we did.
Well, because you also worked at the theater. I went to the movie theater a lot. I went by myself, so I'm just like, there's no way. Like,
absolutely. You had to have been around me so much without me noticing, realizing. Yeah. I guess that's the better word.
I know. So that's just wild. But now we're here right now.
Yep. Now we're good.
Utada,
all is well. Talking about Utada after 3 years on the podcast.
Yes.
we might have to like quickly revisit when she releases the greatest hits and stuff like that. We might have to just do a quick revisit.
Yes.
Oh, because there's, you know, like, to kind of try to wrap it all up, there are so many reasons that we have been so attached to her for such a long time. And, you know, it's not, you know, when you talk about these pop artist situations, there's a lot because people can be like, you're so obsessed with that artist. You're so like you don't even know her, you know, things like that. For sure. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of artists that I won't mention that have fans that are like that. But I've spent a lot of time talking to myself about these things too. And it's the music 110%, you know, it's who she is in the music that she writes and puts out there to the world that says so much without like meaning to, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think kind of a side note, like I think it's okay, I think, for people to be attached to the person, because like the person that's sharing the music, like they're like putting their heart and soul into the music.
And she's like, somebody who really does relating that. To it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, she's just not writing. She's not like in it for the paycheck. Mm-mm. Like, I think I read somewhere once, like she could retire. She could have retired when she went on hiatus and like been fine the rest of her life.
I'll believe it.
But she loves the music. She loves the act of writing. Like she writes and produces her own music first off, but she writes and produces for other artists too. In fact, like the last like few years, she's been like very like mentor-y to lots of up and coming artists, writing music for them, teaching them how to do the same things. And that's crazy. Like she's, for somebody who already has a legacy, she's creating a new legacy for herself. Yeah. And like on Bad Mode, one of the non-single songs, she let her son sing with her. Like adorable.
Yeah.
Just like her parents used to do. And he's a lot younger than like she was when she did that. Like that's crazy. Although she's very protective of him too. She does not, you know, like there are like 0 pictures of him. Mm-hmm. She does not. I mean, they live in London first off, so they don't have to worry about that so much. But yeah, like she tells stories about her son on Instagram and stuff like that. And it's just like the cutest thing in the world.
Yes.
The cutest thing. Like they got to come back to Japan during the premiere, or not the premiere, but like when the final Evangelion movie came out. That was pretty like height of the pandemic in Japan. Well, like the whole world, but she was able to get them back to Japan on a plane so that she could take him to go watch the movie because it wasn't playing anywhere else yet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he loved Evangelion. He has like a big, like a poster of Rei, one of the characters, like up in his room. So she took him to go watch it, and she was like, that was an experience that like could not be duplicated. Getting to watch the end of this franchise. And then, like, they hit because I don't remember if he knew she had a song in it. Like, I don't recall if that was something that been, like, talked about, but he realized, like, oh my God, this is my mom. But, like, what a good memory to share with him. For those real. Things. Mm-hmm. You know, any last thoughts?
I mean, I think I'm sure I always have thoughts.
There's plenty of thoughts left.
Yeah. But... That was almost a good spot to end on, though. A little bit of a little sweet note. Yeah.
So, listeners, I hope that you're still here, first off. But I hope that we've inspired you, maybe not to like go out and listen to Hikaru Utada on your own. And I'm sure we'll be posting stuff of hers all over our social media, so you'll get the chance to listen and see and watch to whatever extent. But I hope that you have artists that you are attached to that speak to you personally. In my music classes, that's something that I push a lot. Like, have artists, have people that you feel close to, have music that is yours. Have music you share with people too, but have music that's just yours. I feel like that just to like the development of a person, I feel like that's really, really important. Because it's something that you can't get from anywhere else, I feel. So listeners, let us know if there's any other artists that you feel similarly to. Or if you go out and you decide to listen to some Utada, let us know what you thought. Let us know what you found. We're there to share those things with you. And so you can find us all over the place. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all over the place. So go give us a like and a follow. Let us know how you're doing. So to depart from that, here in a couple months, in March, we will be celebrating our 100th episode anniversary, which is bonkers. So we have some things planned, but if there's something you all would like to see from us, let us know.
Yes. If you have any questions for us, for like a Q&A or anything,
I think we'd both love to do a Q&A. Yes. We tried that. It's been a bit. I think was that our like first year anniversary?
Yes, it was.
But that was a long time ago. So there's been a lot happen since then.
Yep. So send us all your questions.
All your questions.
All your suggestions for what you want us to do. Yeah.
Or if you hated it, let us know that too. I mean, you can tell us whatever you want. Yeah. We take feedback. We're good. Yes. We're good about that. So anyway, folks, thank you for listening. This has been a good sized episode, but we hope that you enjoyed it, and we will catch you soon.
See ya.